Think about the last neighborhood you walked through that felt genuinely alive, where people were outside, where you knew who lived next door, where the front porch was not decorative but actually used. Chances are, it was an older neighborhood, built before the car became the organizing principle of residential design. Built when houses were small, lots were narrow, and the street between them was a social space rather than a traffic corridor. The cottage cluster is what happens when a developer or a community looks at that older model honestly and builds it again, on purpose, right now. Welcome to Affordable Tiny Living. Today, the cottage cluster. What it is, why it is growing, what makes a great one, what it costs to build or buy into, and the honest limitations. Subscribe right now. Let us get into it. A cottage cluster is a residential development of small, detached or semi-detached dwellings, typically 400 to 900 square feet each, arranged around a shared common space rather than along a conventional street frontage. The key distinction from a standard subdivision is the orientation. In a conventional subdivision, homes face the street and back away from their neighbors. The private backyard is the primary outdoor space, and social interaction is incidental. In a cottage cluster, the homes face inward toward a shared courtyard, green, or common garden, making the communal outdoor space the primary outdoor experience rather than the private backyard. This orientation reversal is the cottage cluster's defining design move, and it is the one that changes everything about how residents experience their neighborhood. The shared common space, typically 500 to 2,000 square feet, depending on the cluster size, becomes the neighborhood's living room, a garden, a fire pit, a children's play area, outdoor seating, a vegetable patch managed collectively. The space is not owned by any one resident, but maintained collectively by all of them. Individual private outdoor spaces, small patios or decks attached to each cottage, still exist, but they are secondary to the common space. The balance between private and communal outdoor life is deliberately shifted toward the communal. Multiple longitudinal studies now document that social isolation is one of the most significant public health challenges in developed nations. Americans in particular report dramatically lower rates of regular social interaction with neighbors than previous generations. The conventional single-family subdivision, with its private backyard, its double garage door facing the street, and its absence of shared outdoor space, is a physical form that structurally prevents casual daily neighbor interaction. The cottage cluster is a physical form that structurally enables it. This is not an accidental outcome. It is the primary reason cottage clusters were revived as a design model in the 1990s, and why they continue to gain both policy support and market demand. A cottage of 500 to 700 square feet costs significantly less to build and therefore to purchase or rent than a conventional single-family home. In most markets, a well-designed cottage cluster unit at $180,000 to $320,000 delivers a complete, privately owned detached home at a price point that a conventional single-family home in the same neighborhood costs $450,000 to $850,000 to deliver. The shared infrastructure, shared parking, shared utility connections, shared landscaping maintenance further reduces the per-unit cost of ownership compared to a fully independent single-family home. The term missing middle refers to the housing types that sit between single-family homes and large apartment buildings: duplexes, triplexes, small courtyard housing, cottage clusters. For most of the post-war period, zoning in most American cities specifically excluded missing middle housing from single-family residential zones. A wave of zoning reform legislation, accelerating through the early 2020s, has made missing middle housing legal in a growing number of jurisdictions that previously banned it. Cottage clusters are one of the most commonly cited missing middle housing types in this reform wave. and developers and community land trusts are building them at a pace that was not possible 5 years ago. Small homes in a dense cluster configuration consume dramatically less energy than equivalent area conventional suburban development. The shared walls or close spacing between cottages reduce heat loss. The smaller individual floor areas reduce heating and cooling loads. The clustered layout reduces the infrastructure, roads, utility lines, stormwater management, required per household by 40 to 60% compared to conventional suburban development. For municipal governments facing infrastructure maintenance costs and climate commitments simultaneously, cottage cluster development delivers a measurably better environmental outcome per household than any other market-rate residential form. 5 design principles separate a cottage cluster that works, socially, spatially, and economically, from one that merely satisfies a zoning requirement. Everything in the cluster is in service to the common space. The cottages face it, are proportioned to it, and are positioned so that their primary windows overlook it. A cottage cluster whose common space is an afterthought, a leftover wedge between the cottages after the maximum density has been extracted from the lot, produces a development that looks like a cottage cluster from above and functions like a conventional subdivision on the ground. Every cottage's primary entry door should open onto the common space. This is the single design rule that most reliably produces the social outcomes the cottage cluster form promises. When residents enter and exit their homes through the common space, daily incidental interaction is inevitable. When entries face a parking area or a perimeter path, interaction becomes optional and therefore rare. Every cottage should have a covered porch or covered entry element, even a minimal one of 40 to 60 square feet, facing the common space. The porch is the social transition zone between private home and communal outdoor space. Research on cottage cluster and co-housing communities consistently shows that covered porches facing common space are the single most reliable predictor of active use of the common area by residents. A cottage cluster without porches loses half of its social function, regardless of the quality of the common space itself. Parking at the center of a cottage cluster destroys the common space, and with it, the form's primary social function. All vehicle parking must be located at the perimeter of the cluster, accessed from the street, buffered from the common area, and designed to be invisible from the primary common space sightlines. Limiting parking to 1 space per 2 units, appropriate given the cottage cluster's typically transit and walkability-oriented locations, reduces the parking footprint and reduces the cost per unit simultaneously. The common space, shared utilities, and collectively maintained elements of a cottage cluster must be governed by a clearly written legal agreement, a homeowners association, a community land trust lease, or a condominium declaration that specifies maintenance responsibilities, dispute resolution, and the rules for common space use before the first resident moves in. A cottage cluster, without this governance structure, is a social experiment that typically ends in conflict over maintenance costs and common space use within 3 to 5 years of occupation. Walk the exterior of a well-built cottage cluster, and the first thing you notice is scale. Each cottage reads as genuinely small: a simple gable or shed roofline, modest window openings, a footprint that could sit comfortably in a single room of a conventional suburban house. There is no attempt to disguise the size. The honesty of the scale is part of the design language. Exterior materials tend toward durable, low-maintenance choices repeated consistently across all 6 units. Board and batten siding, standing seam metal roofing, painted fiber cement, sometimes a mix of wood tone and a single accent color per cottage, to distinguish one home from the next without breaking the visual rhythm of the cluster. The covered porch is the dominant exterior feature on every unit, positioned to face the common green rather than the street or the parking court. Roof pitches are kept simple and consistent across the cluster, reinforcing the sense of a cohesive small village rather than 6 unrelated buildings sharing a lot. Pathways connecting each cottage to the common space are typically permeable paving or gravel, low cost and low maintenance, reinforcing pedestrian movement toward the shared garden rather than toward the street. Step inside, and the design logic shifts from communal to efficient. At 500 to 700 square feet, every cottage interior is organized around a single open-plan living, kitchen, and dining space, typically 250 to 320 square feet, that captures the primary window facing the common green. The kitchen runs along one wall or in a compact L shape, sized for 1 to 2 people cooking at once rather than for entertaining at scale. Entertaining happens outside, in the common space, not in the kitchen. Cabinetry is efficient rather than expansive, prioritizing full-height storage over counter length. A single bedroom, generally 100 to 140 square feet, sits toward the rear of the cottage for acoustic privacy from the common space activity. The bathroom is compact and fully enclosed, typically 40 to 60 square feet, positioned as a buffer between the bedroom and the main living space. Ceiling heights are often pushed higher than a conventional starter home, 9 to 11 feet at the ridge in a vaulted configuration, to offset the small footprint and prevent the interior from feeling cramped. Natural light is maximized through the common space-facing windows in particular, since that orientation carries both the best light and the psychological connection to the shared outdoor room just beyond the porch. Cost breakdown for a 6-cottage cluster. 6 units of approximately 600 square feet each, arranged around a shared common space of 800 square feet, on a single lot. An urban infill lot of approximately 12,000 to 18,000 square feet, sufficient for 6 cottages at the setbacks required under most cottage cluster, or missing middle zoning provisions. $180,000 to $550,000, depending on city and location. Land cost per unit, $30,000 to $92,000. Construction, per unit foundation, $5,500. Structural frame, roof, and exterior, $28,000 to $48,000. Insulation, windows and doors, $8,000 to $15,000. Interior lining and finishes, $8,000 to $16,000. Kitchen, $7,000 to $14,000. Bathroom, $6,500 to $12,000. Mechanical, electrical, and HVAC, $9,000 to $15,000. Porch, $2,500 to $5,500. Construction per unit, $74,500 to $135,000. Shared infrastructure, common space landscaping, paving, planting and lighting, $22,000 to $55,000. Shared utility connections, $18,000 to $40,000. Shared parking area, $12,000 to $28,000. Legal governance setup, $4,500 to $10,000. Shared infrastructure total, $56,500 to $133,000. Per unit, $9,400 to $22,200. Permits, design and professional. Fees $35,000 to $80,000 for the full 6-unit project. Per unit, $5,800 to $13,300. Total cost per unit, $120,700 to $262,500, excluding land, $150,700 to $354,500, including land at mid-range. A conventionally built single-family home of 600 square feet in the same city, $280,000 to $480,000, including land. The cottage cluster unit delivers the same floor area, a detached home, and a governed shared community outdoor space for 20 to 30% less than the conventional equivalent in most mid-tier markets. 4 limitations. Know them before you build or buy. 1. Governance requires sustained engagement. A cottage cluster's shared spaces and shared infrastructure require ongoing collective decisions. Maintenance costs must be shared. Common space rules must be set and enforced. Disputes between neighbors in a cluster, where the homes are much closer together than in a conventional subdivision, must be resolved through the governance structure. Residents who value maximum autonomy and minimum collective obligation will find cottage cluster governance either burdensome or frustrating. Know your tolerance for collective decision-making before you commit to this model. 2. Privacy is different from a conventional home. The common space-facing orientation that makes cottage clusters socially successful also means less acoustic and visual privacy from neighbors than a conventional private backyard home. The windows that face the common space face the same space your neighbor's windows face. The porch that invites casual conversation also means casual observation. The proximity is the point. For residents who value solitude over community, this proximity can feel like surveillance rather than connection. 3. Not all zoning jurisdictions permit them. Despite the missing middle reform wave, cottage cluster development remains prohibited or heavily restricted in many jurisdictions. Confirm your local planning framework, specifically, before purchasing land for a cottage cluster project. The permitted density, the minimum lot size, the maximum unit size, and the common space area requirements all vary significantly between jurisdictions. 4. Resale is slightly more complex. A cottage cluster unit is not a conventional single-family home, and it is not a conventional condominium. It occupies an in-between category that some mortgage lenders handle less readily than either, and some buyers find harder to evaluate without comparable sales. The resale market for cottage cluster units is growing as the form becomes more common, but it is still smaller and occasionally slower than the conventional single-family market. The conventional single-family subdivision was not designed for human connection. It was designed for automobile access, for maximum lot coverage, and for the assumption that the private family unit was the only social unit that mattered. That assumption is being revised by the demographic reality of 2026. Smaller households, higher land costs, documented loneliness, and a growing body of research confirming that physical environments shape social behavior more powerfully than individual intention does. The cottage cluster is the residential form that takes that research seriously and builds around it. Small homes facing a shared garden, entries that open onto a community space rather than a garage, a front porch that makes a daily conversation inevitable rather than optional. It is not a utopian vision. It is a physical design decision with documented social and financial outcomes. So here is what we want to know. Would you choose to live in a cottage cluster? Or does the shared governance and the reduced privacy make a private backyard conventional home feel like the more livable choice, regardless of the community benefits? Drop your honest answer in the comments. We read every single one. Subscribe to Affordable Tiny Living if you are not already here. We go this deep every single week. Thank you for spending this time with us here at Affordable Tiny Living. Cottage cluster developers, community land trust contacts, missing middle zoning resources by state, and governance document templates are all linked in the description below. Subscribe. Hit the bell. We are here every week covering the housing forms that are actually changing how people live, not just how they build. And we will see you in the next one.